Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Barber with digital-delirium.com, and you know something that I have never done on this website? A review of a video game console. I've done plenty of reviews of video games before. I even did a review of a handheld system once. The thought of possibly ending up with a Generation 1 Nokia N-Gage drives me to drink. Tastes like hipster. Yeah, that went well. But I have never done a video review of a system before. In case you're wondering what's up with my absence, I injured my knee while swimming and it has taken me a while to heal up from that. So I'm sorry that there hasn't been a video in so long, but I am working hard on getting a bunch of videos out as soon as possible, and I will get back to Let's Playing soon. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, one of my more recent acquisitions was a PlayStation 4, and I wanted to take an opportunity to sit in front of the camera and talk about the system for you guys. Unfortunately, the one thing that I won't be able to show off in this video is the PlayStation 4's user interface. I'll talk about it some, but I won't be able to show it off because I have no efficient way of recording it. The only way of recording it that I actually have right now is to point a camera at a television that my PlayStation 4 is hooked up to. Other than that, every single piece of footage you'll see in this was recorded from the PlayStation 4 unless it's me in front of the camera. Let's get to it, shall we? Let's take a look at the console itself. It's got a very sleek, slanted design that I quite like. It's got a half matted finish and half shiny look that is very appealing to the eye, but the shiny half of this will fingerprint easily, so keep an eye out for that if you love to keep your consoles nice and clean. Overall, I find the design of this system to be very aesthetically pleasing. What we're looking at here is the top of the console. Now you can set the console up like this, or you can lay it on its side, and I think that is what most people will do with this particular console. Here we see the back of the console. It's got a matted and kind of a plain look, but it really doesn't matter because this is usually the bottom of the console for most people, so you're never really going to see it anyway. Back here you have all your ports and plugins. We'll get into that in more detail here in just a little bit. And here we see the front of the console. It's kind of divided up into 4 rectangles, and we'll get into what all this is in just a little bit. Here you see me pointing at the power button and the eject button. It took me a while to figure out that this was the power button and the eject button because at first glance they really don't look like buttons. But they are. You probably worked this out already, but these two are USB ports which you can use to plug in a variety of things such as charging cables and USB headsets. On the back here you've got your power cable as well as your video cable, a place to plug in digital optical audio if you want to run your audio that way, and one more cable that I'm not entirely sure what exactly it is, but I suspect the PlayStation camera plugs into it. It is worth noting that you cannot plug this through composite or component video cables. You have to do it through HDMI. Keep that in mind if you're going to purchase one. Let's take a look at the controller. Prior to owning the PlayStation 4, my all-time favorite controller was the DualShock 2 for the PlayStation 2, which made subtle improvements to the original DualShock for the PlayStation 1. And for the PlayStation 4 controller, they really haven't altered the design all that much, which, if you've been a long-time Sony fan, you know damn well is a very good thing, because they hit the nail on the head in 1998. However, I will say this. This is now my favorite controller of all time. I have never held another controller that is quite as comfortable as this. One of the improvements they made to this particular controller are the L2 and R2 buttons, which are vastly improved over the PlayStation 3. They also added a share button that lets you instantly start streaming whatever game you're playing or record 15 minutes of gameplay at a time, which you can upload directly from your PlayStation 4 to YouTube if you so choose. You can also upload screenshots if you want to as well. It's a very cool feature. They also added an options button, which kind of acts as a pause button and replaces that. Furthermore, they added a touchpad on this, which you can also press as a button. I have not gotten much use out of that in any games that I have played so far, but it's nice to know that it is there, in case some video game in the future would like to use it. And it feels kind of easy to just glide your thumb right across it if you want to. They also added a small light bar to the PlayStation 4 controller, which changes color as you play through different video games. It can also interact with the PlayStation camera, but I cannot show that because I do not have one. Other than that, nothing has really changed except aesthetically to make it more comfortable to hold in your hand. And boy, did they hit the nail on the head with this. This controller is absolutely top-notch fantastic, and I'm having a difficult time imagining any gamer at all having a problem with it. I love this thing. Let's take a look at the cases that PlayStation 4 games come in. These are a very similar design to the PlayStation 3 cases. Unlike jumping from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3, this isn't much of a big leap here, except that the PlayStation 4 cases are a nice blue. At least they're still not that ugly green that the Xbox has, and that's not trying to knock the Xbox. I have an Xbox and an Xbox 360. I just never liked the green. I do like this blue, though. It's very aesthetically pleasing, I think, and very simple design. It works. I mean, what more could you ask for from a video game case? Let's talk tech specs. I know this will probably bore some of you, but the nerds out there are interested in this kind of thing, and I'm one of them. So let's take a look and see what is under the PlayStation's hood. Apart from the Blu-ray drive, which you already know, the features a custom-built 8-core CPU that is estimated to run at 1.6 gigahertz. Wow, the processor in my computer is a lot faster than that. On the graphics processing front, it features a 1.84 teraflops GPU that is based on AMD Radeon technology. It also features 8 gig of DDR5 RAM, which is actually better RAM than I have in my computer. DDR5 RAM is fast and very, very nice. And I'm sure that this is what PlayStation fanboys are going to spend years shoving down the throats of Xbox fanboys, saying ours has better RAM. And yeah, that's technically true. It does have better RAM than the Xbox One. But it won't matter, at least for a couple of years, until developers figure out exactly how to use said RAM. What good is a console without games? Let's take a look at some games on this system, shall we? What we're looking at here is The Last of Us Remastered, which originally was a PlayStation 3 game, so it's not really an accurate representation of the capabilities of the PlayStation 4, but it will show you what the PlayStation 4 can do to a PlayStation 3 game. Originally, this game was in 720p, and I believe it was 30 frames per second. This bumps it up to 60 frames per second and 1080p, which ultimately results in a sharper image. It also has better colors than the original. They pop a bit more, and it runs smoother. The animations will look smoother because it runs at 60 frames per second. But again, this is not a full representation of the system itself. So let's look at something that makes a bit of a bigger jump from one generation to the next. Longtime video game icon Lara Croft makes her debut on the PlayStation 4 in Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. This game is a bigger leap graphically from the PlayStation 3 version. All the textures look quite a bit sharper in this game. The colors look better. The overall quality of this game just is improved with this version of it. If you have the PlayStation 3 version of this game, there's no real reason to upgrade, but I didn't. This is a very good version of this game. It's a sharp-looking game. But again, this is like jumping from the PlayStation 3 version of the game to the PC version of the game, however. This, again, is not quite indicative of what the PlayStation 3 can do. So let's take a look at another game, shall we? Now we're talking BJ Blazkowicz, one of gaming's most legendary characters, and Nazi killer extraordinaire. BJ is awesome. And his new game, Wolfenstein: The New Order, is also awesome. I would expect nothing less from the Wolfenstein series. And this is a good-looking game. However, it was not hailed as a graphical powerhouse when it was released. And there are better-looking games on the system itself. Although you'd be hard-pressed to find at least a shooter that is more pure fun than this one is. The single-player campaign is well worth the price of admission on this one. This game is awesome. It's one of the reasons that I wanted a PlayStation 4 so badly in the first place. I love this game and I highly recommend it. This is next-gen gaming, ladies and gentlemen. But we have better looking games on our list. Let's get to them. The Evil Within. If you're a survival horror fan, you've probably been waiting for this one for a long time and eagerly anticipating it. And it seems like it's kind of mixed reviews from fans and critics alike. Some people seem to love it and think it's terrifying. Other people seem to think that it's not scary even in the slightest, but that's not why we're here, is it? This game looks good. Much like the previous game, Wolfenstein: The New Order, this game was developed simultaneously for both the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, as well as Xbox consoles. And while it is good looking on both, there is a significant jump between the PlayStation 3 version and the PlayStation 4 version, which you're seeing here. Here we're finally really truly beginning to see what the PlayStation 4 is capable of. But it is capable of so much more than just this. Let's take a look at another game within this genre, shall we? One even better than this one. Alien Isolation. Oh yeah, now we're talking. This game's amazing. This game actually lives up to all the hype surrounding it. This is an excellent and terrifying survival horror experience. And this is one of the reasons that I wanted a PlayStation 4. Yes, this also came out on the PlayStation 3, much like the games I talked about before this. But it looks so much better on this console. And we've been waiting so long to get a good Alien game. I mean, we had Alien vs. Predator in an arcade beat 'em up a long time ago. And then we had Alien vs. Predator on the Atari Jaguar. And then a couple of PC games, Alien vs. Predator 2000, that one. And then we had Alien vs. Predator 2 as well. Then there was a more recent one that was pretty disappointing on the PlayStation 3. Beyond that, though, we haven't had a pure Alien game that was good in a long time. And this fills that gap very, very well. There was Aliens Colonial Marines, but the less said about that, the better. This is Alien through and through. It looks like Alien. It feels like Alien. It sounds like Alien. If you like the movie and you like survival horror, you will like this. It makes the creature terrifying and intelligent again, like he should be. And boy does this game look good. It absolutely nails the look of the film, and it has a very thick atmosphere that transcends that film into this game, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the look of this game, and if you love the look of the Alien film, you will too. This game does not disappoint. If you have a PlayStation 4, get this game and check it out. Now, I know what you're thinking by this point. What about PlayStation 4 exclusives? You haven't shown anything that is 100% exclusive to the PlayStation 4. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because let's get to a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Killzone Shadows Fall. This was a launch game for the PlayStation 4, and it was supposed to be two things. One, the game that showed off the capabilities of the PlayStation 4, and two, the big launch exclusive for the PlayStation 4 that was supposed to get everyone interested. Reviews would suggest that it did not quite live up to being the game that would bring people over to this console, although it was still the hot ticket item to get for your brand new PlayStation 4. And looking at this footage, you can clearly see why. This game is gorgeous. This lighting is artistic in how well it is done. It is incredibly well designed and just beautiful to look at. This game really truly showed off what the PlayStation 4 could do, and it did so very, very impressive. This was by far the best looking launch title, and to this day it remains one of the better looking games on the system as a whole. But it has been a while since this game has actually come out, and there have been a lot more PlayStation exclusives that came out since then. Let's take a look at one of them and see how it stacks up in comparison to this, shall we? Bloodborne. This is from Software, who created Dark Souls and Demon Souls before this on the PlayStation 3. This was their big PlayStation 4 exclusive game, and it was highly highly anticipated. It makes some gameplay changes and whatnot from how previous games played, but for the most part this is a Demon's Souls type game, including difficulty. This game is incredibly hard, but it does feature what is, in my opinion, a very cool, dark, gothic art style that I like quite a bit better than what was presented in Demon's Souls and Dark Souls on the previous generation. You can also tell that graphically it's quite a big leap from those two games. This game is absolutely beautiful and just detail in every single quarter of it. Every single thing has minute detail in it, and the color scheme, love it or hate it, is very drab, but that's an on-purpose design to further the game's oppressive atmosphere. It works pretty well. Overall, this might be the best looking game on the PlayStation 4, at least prior to the launch of the recently released Metal Gear Solid 5, which probably does look better than this game does. But when it was released, this probably was the best looking game on the system. I don't have Metal Gear Solid 5, so I can't talk about that, but this game is gorgeous, and let's leave you with my final thoughts. Let's get to it. I have not talked about all the features that the PlayStation 4 has yet. Of course, it can play Blu-rays just like the previous generation of console can. It can also play DVDs, and just like the previous generation of consoles, it will upscale those DVDs to full 1080p if you have the television that will allow it to do that, and they look gorgeous in full 1080p. Beyond that, you've got Netflix, YouTube, you've got Amazon Prime, and a wide variety of other streaming services available to you. But it is of note that you don't have any form of backwards compatibility. So you'll want to hang on to your PlayStation 2 for PlayStation 2 games and your PlayStation 3 for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 1 games if you like to go back and play those on occasion. One other feature that this system lacks that kind of bugs me is it does not play CDs as of right now. Given the sound quality that comes out of this thing, I imagine CDs would sound beautiful if it did play them, and that is something they can add in at a later date. Here's hoping that they do, because I still have a large collection of CDs, but the reason that you're going to get a PlayStation 4 is for the games, and it has plenty of those. As a game system, this is awesome. If you don't have a top-of-the-line computer especially, this is awesome. If you can't afford one, this is a cheaper alternative to paying a couple $100 for a video card, another couple $100 for a CPU, and a couple $100 more for memory, before you get into things like different types of hard drives and all that stuff. Or maybe you're just like me and you happen to enjoy console gaming as well as PC gaming. This is a very good option. I cannot compare it to the Xbox One or the Wii U because I don't have either one of those systems. But as it stands, I have thoroughly enjoyed all of my time spent with the PlayStation 4. One of my favorite things about this particular system is how snappy and fast it is. If you're used to the PlayStation 3, you notice that towards the end of its lifespan, the system actually started getting pretty slow and frustrating to use because it was pretty slow. This fixes that. This instant loads virtually everything. You won't be waiting more than a few seconds. I have played plenty of single-player games on it. I haven't really done much online gaming because another unfortunate feature of this particular system is that the online gaming is now subscription-based, just like the Xbox is. That's unfortunate. It's less restricting than the Xbox is, however. You don't need a PlayStation Plus account to do virtually anything, which I'm thankful for because on the Xbox 360, one of the things I don't like about it is how restrictive it is between Xbox Live Silver, which is the free service, and Xbox Live Gold, which is the paid service. There are a bunch of different things on that system that are restricted behind a paywall, and I don't particularly care for that. This system does not do that. You want to play online games, you got to pay. That's kind of unfortunate, but at least it doesn't make you pay more to run things like Netflix. And having used all those different streaming services on this, it does them very, very well. But like I said, the main reason you're going to want to get this is game, and it's got the games. It's got a lot of them. It's going to be getting a lot more this upcoming holiday season and next year. I would highly recommend picking up this system if you happen to be a gamer. I love mine. I suspect that anybody who picks theirs up will also love theirs. If you have watched my video reviews in the past, then you know that I do not do point scores, and I'm not going to do one here. So I'll just say thank you everybody for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would be greatly appreciated. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks everybody, and goodbye.